Move to approve.
Second. Ross made a motion, second by Jeanette. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item C, moment of silence to reflect on the business at hand. Item D, Watoma Area School District Strategic Plan.
Mission statement, building positive foundations for the success of our children.
Building community involvement throughout internship, job shadowing, and mentorship.
Develop marketing in the district and community through branding.
Improve work and people skills.
Develop parental contacts promoting school involvement.
Build productive relationships with the medical field to increase support and open lines of communication to support students with mental health issues. Item E, recognition of persons wishing to address the board. None? Item F, student staff presentations, the first one, A+ after-school program.
Hello, I'm Kendra Knudsen, After School Program Coordinator. I have a little presentation here for you, and hopefully all of you have a copy of our annual report. I'm going to go over things pretty quickly, but if you have, there's a lot more detail in the report, so you can always email me if you have any questions after that you review it. All right, so just wanted to kind of show some of the effects that COVID had on us last year. The attendance really dropped. We had record numbers in 2019-20 at 245 kids enrolled, and only reached 178 last year. And you can see those effects on our average daily attendance as well. We had 164 kids on average each day in 19-20 and only 125 last year. So this year we actually have 174 students currently enrolled. The sad part of that is we have 65 students on our waiting list that we don't have enough staff to take right now. So 24 of them are priority, so kids that have been recommended to attend by a teacher or have been an A+ in previous years.
Sorry, kind of just a
Yep.
quick question, and maybe I should know this, but we had, can you go back one slide?
Sure.
So we had 245 enrolled and 164 that were there last year, and we had ample staff. And now, did we get rid of someone?
Oh, so last year, because of, COVID, space-wise, people wanting to work, we were short-staffed, and we didn't really have a waiting list most of last year. It was just a really weird time for us.
So how many do we have enrolled again?
174 right now.
Okay, so 10 more than were in there last year.
Yeah,
So we're
so
at
these
239
are,
that wanted to be
these
there.
are the ones
Yeah.
that are coming every day.
Yeah.
So on average, we have 164 kids in our program a day.
But that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years
Yes,
ago.
1920.
Yes. Last year we had 125 coming every day.
Yep,
This year we have 174 enrolled.
yep.
Probably don't really
So
have.
probably around 160, 150 that are attending every day right now,
Okay.
without our numbers in yet for September.
And Kendra's is struggle like we all have again, was just trying to find people from the
Right.
community to come in and work those 2 hours. High school kids, things of that sort. She posts frequently.
We are hiring.
Yeah, they're.
We're
yeah.
still trying to get
We have the
people.
Trying to hire.
money, we have the money to hire.
Right, we just don't
We
have.
just can't
Tell
tell
people.
people
That's
that.
a shocker, huh?
So if you know anybody, put in a good word for us.
Thank you.
So each year we do have goals set for ourselves to help children reach their growth goals on the iReady assessment. Usually, depending on the site, it's between 65 and 70% of students that we want to help reach that goal. And so you can see at Parkside and Riverview, we were really close to that. And Red Granite, we were not. Don't have too much data to add to that, but there is a little bit more detail in the packet.
What are the numbers that were granted, not percentage, the raw numbers? I assume that the attendance is relatively low,
We
so
had-
a student or two can really skew a percentage.
Yeah, about 40 kids typically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we do try to target the kids most in need, so.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. We also survey teachers every spring, and so we're asking them about kids that need to improve, that have come to our program 30 or more days during the school year. That aligns with what our grants measure, and we report to the federal government for our grants. And so of kids, this is the data of kids that needed to improve only. So those that needed to improve in homework completion, 50% of our kids did improve. Class participation, 48% of our kids improved, and in classroom behavior, 32%. Recalling from last year, classroom behavior is always lower from what I'm seeing. So we're not having as big of an impact on behavior. I wanted to highlight a couple of our partners. So even through COVID, we were able to keep some of our partners, although we lost quite a few. TJ Rinaldi and Anna Boron, hopefully I'm saying that right. They offered some wellness virtual activities for our families to attend. And so that went pretty well, and so we're continuing to have a monthly series going. So TJ will do 1 month, and then Anna will do another month. So we're gonna have those presentations going on through 21-22. And UW-Madison has always been one of our strongest partners, and that continued through COVID. They offered virtual programming during the school year, and then we were able to get them in during summer camp to come to our programs as well. Ice Age Trail Alliance is one of our newer partners, so we did offer a well-attended family snowshoe on the Ice Age Trail this past winter, and they did participate providing a summer camp club as well. So the kids got to go out and do a hike one day. And then the EAA Young Eagles program is one that I feel like we kind of overlook, but it's really an awesome opportunity for our kids. We do a flight or aerodynamics club during summer camp, and then partnering with the Young Eagles, Paul Paris actually takes our kids up for their first flight. So they have to be between certain ages, but that's an opportunity they get to do one time in their life. This past year, we did get 18 volunteers. The majority of them were youth, students in the school district or teachers. We just had a couple outside volunteers that helped with concessions, and for a total of 266 hours. So we've been doing spring break camp for 3 years now, so I thought it'd be kind of neat to see the layout of the data. So they did get to do one field trip. They got to go roller skating. Normally we do field trips 4 to 5 days of spring break. So we just had themed fun days all week, and the kids still had a blast. And you can see our enrollment is pretty consistent, 45, 42. The average attendance fairly consistent. And then I thought it'd be nice to show like the cost per day. So if you're familiar with childcare rates, I think we're at a good range there. And then the last 2 years, the program, spring break, has been completely free for families. And summer camp, this would have been our 4th year. Our numbers are definitely growing, and the need, I believe we may have still had a wait list after the 75. We had 75 enrolled. We took all the extra staff we could, recruiting teachers that were working at Camp Parkside. And so the cost is a little higher because the wage is a little higher for our teachers. But overall, for about a 4-hour program, the cost was $14 per day per student. And again, cost of families is nothing, free. All right. So our overall funding, I just put some grand totals on there, but you have the details in your packet. So our funds available to us to use this year was $354,103, and what we ended up spending was $311,857. Most of our expenses are for salaries. We don't spend very much on supplies or extra services. Last year probably was quite a bit less than normal because we weren't able to go out and do as many things. Yeah, otherwise we had a lot that was not spent from our Riverview grant. We had $130,000, and without being able to hire the extra staff, there's no way we could spend that down. One of the things I wanted to share too, so if you look at the hourly cost, of our programs in comparison. Spring break and summer camp are about $3 per kid hourly. And our after-school programs range anywhere from just under $4 to about $6. And I have a few quotes to share with you. So when we do our family surveys, we ask for some feedback on there and ask them to tell us, anything about A+ that made a difference. And so these are some of the things that they said. My child seems more involved and excited for school in A+, was a comment from one of our Parkside parents. Riverview family said, must be fun. If I pick up too early, I am told about it. And it's my child's favorite part of the day. And a Red Granite parent said, the staff seem to really like my children and my kids like coming to A+. They are shy and have tried a lot of new things at A+. That's it. Short and sweet today.
Great, thank you.
Any questions?
I don't know if this is a Kendra question or a Cindy question, but is this financial performance of A+, is this typical? Cindy or?
She's not here, she's.
Okay, do you know?
I mean, as far as having the carryover? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
but
saying?
if I'm looking at this right, I mean, you're showing like a $37,000 plus, but then there's $85,000 of overhead that we're not taking into account there, or is it?
And I don't have that.
So every year, Cindy has said that's about the approximate value of the overhead general costs of using the school district building.
That you're not charged?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
Utilities,
Right.
any other
We have to pay
janitorial
it
stuff.
somehow
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Right.
then we show that we're matching.
So let's say it's roughly break even, is that normal for us? Or have we had years where it's been a much more significant contribution to us? I'm not saying that's what we're looking for, but I'm just curious.
I don't know the history on the estimate. I would guess that it probably keeps getting higher every year just because the cost of everything that they're using is increasing. I think that the grant just wants like a certain percentage of in-kind
Right.
matching.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would assume that's gonna keep going up over time.
Yeah, and our grant funds increased dramatically when we got the new grant a couple years ago to $130,000. So with carryover, that could be $150,000 going into this year. So
Yeah, I think, I think the other thing that's a little bit frustrating is there's gonna be a lot of money for after-school programming through the ESSER 3 and all these federal grants, and I think we'll qualify for them. But we already have grant money, we might be able to get more grant money, but again, it's just trying to find people to be part of the program and to get them to work on. I know she's paying teachers more to stay in tutor. I think you've increased some of the numbers there. If I'm
yeah,
right.
I've got a lot of applicants that will start hopefully in October.
Yep, so that's helping. We're getting teacher staff, we're paying them a little bit more than we have in the past because, again, we have the funds available to do that. Good to have teachers here after school working with the kids. So I think we're going that route. But again, it's just always trying to find, and it's hard when it's a 2-hour a night job and some people aren't looking for that. And I think people who, correct me if I'm wrong, Kendra, but people who were retired and used to do this, when COVID hit, it really scaled back their involvement. They were not as comfortable coming in anymore. I think.
And not necessarily just elderly or, older
Yeah.
people, just in general.
Yeah.
We had a couple people just, I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
I'm not doing it anymore, so that.
And please don't misunderstand my questions, I'm just wondering from a financial standpoint, the real value of the program is some of the numbers that were put up there about the
Yeah.
increase and getting these kids caught up and helping out classroom behavior and that sort of thing, right? Those pay dividends down the road, and obviously this is something we're committed to do, and I was just curious to how we've seen our numbers change over the years and call it roughly a break even, and if that's the case and it's not a cost anchor for us, then you look at the presentation here and you think of the value that these kids are getting out of this.
I mean, I think, again, historically, I think we really used to have to nickel and dime to craft a budget for the after-school program because the grants weren't as big, and then we weren't taking as much out of Fund 80, which is that community fund. The grants have gotten bigger, and we have levied more out of Fund 80 out of that community to fund the program. So we haven't had to scratch by like we did probably 10 years ago. So it's healthier than I think it's ever been.
And 180,000 of it is grant funds.
Kendra, for the seniors that are 18 and older, what role can they play if they would like a position? It's not gonna help you get kids off the waiting list, I take it, like they couldn't be in charge of that per se, or can they, or what?
We actually hire at freshmen,
Yep. We
but
can hire-
it's
yeah,
a
we can hire
program
younger kids
assistant
for this
position, so they're paired with an adult.
Okay,
And then we're able to maybe bump our group sizes up to like 15, versus right now we're keeping around that 10 to 12 area. With all the changes, you know, we've lost 2 or 3 staff as we've already started the school year. So we're really hesitant to hire or, you know, get too many new kids in and then be short-staffed.
and if they're 18, they could be in charge of a group alone, or no, you would still pair them up?
Technically, they could, but it'd have to be a very
Sure.
responsible
Yeah,
high school student, yes.
we have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have to do a background check.
Yeah.
I think the tricky part is that our programs start before the high schoolers get there typically.
Okay.
As far as the, I know it's a perception by teachers as far as the information that derives the numbers, as far as the classroom behavior, the dramatic increase there as far as got worse. Is there something that you have any feedback that can improve upon that, or?
Not directly. We continue to work on building relationships and, you know, a lot of team building. I think after school is hard because the kids have been in school all day, so I don't know exactly what, you know, what is causing that correlation.
Is there a certain age group you see more of it in, or?
I would say maybe the middle school, but again, it depends on how many, like, depends on the numbers too. Again, like a couple can skew that as well, but I have all of the data if you want to see, you know, the full breakdown.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think, again, just to jump in, not to blame everything on COVID, but when we went from a hybrid model to everybody returning, naturally, we all saw more increased behaviors. So I don't think it was just A+ that saw that.
I think the numbers we'll have to look at is next year after being back in session, back in school as a class, see how those numbers come back to normal.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of a skewed set of data too, because it's the classroom teacher saying, the kids' behavior in my class improved because of after school, and I don't know if that's not really.
Well, and it's not necessarily that they're saying it was after school, it's just their general.
Right,
Like, do you
yeah,
feel
did
that
you
their
have an
behavior
impact? I don't know if
from-
there's a
from
chance for you to
beginning
have a
to
direct
end?
correlation, because let's say you develop a good relationship with that kid, but you're not here during the day, when that kid is back in school.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing homework completion and academic skills, I mean, that does carry over within the school day. I don't know, I mean, I always thought that was sort of a skewed question.
Yeah.
It's a perception, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's
And
generalized.
it's one of the things we have to report on, and they are
Right.
changing it, so it's going back to 8 or 9 questions for the teacher survey, for this next year, for the group measures, so.
Very good.
Good, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, good job.
Thank you. Now we'll see if item number 2, the AP exam results, is just as exciting.
We'll see.
Hope this PowerPoint has some fireworks or something.
No transition. Yeah. No, we're good, thank you. Good night.
You too.
Yep. There we go.
Canceled 2024.
Perfect.
All right, so we're gonna go through the AP results from last school year. Again, you know, having that, you know, looking back kind of at last year and kind of understanding of just the uniqueness of what some of the students went through. One of the things that I really saw at the end of the year was all the kind of hurdles and things that students were going through. It was really impressive sitting in those testing environments and seeing kids take the entire 4 hours to take the test. And so that's just one thing that can't be highlighted with data, but that was one thing that every day that I saw students going through them, that I saw, and it was kind of one of those pieces that's like, yep, they're putting in maximum effort, which was awesome. I'm Doug Beatty, the assistant principal at the high school. Some items that we'll look at is just, the current offerings, how has that changed maybe this year? It really hasn't changed too much. What does the enrollment and the assessment data look like from last school year? And then kind of compare that with previous years. The one thing, if we can remind myself for next year to do this, tomorrow the College Board is releasing nationwide data. So we don't have what other states and everything did thus far. Tomorrow we will have that information. And then kind of what teachers...
Would you email that to the board? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yep,
Great.
I'll take that.
You
I'll
just
put
add a
together.
column if you wanted to, right? No, seriously,
Yeah. So I could add that in there and I'll just show how we did overall.
Thank you.
So, yep. And then just what teachers have been doing over the summer and what is our plan moving forward with that information. So the past school year, there were 9 offerings. As you can see, 3 in math, 1 in AP Music, Science, Social Studies, and some foreign language. This school year, the only thing that has been adjusted is we do not have an AP Calculus BC, which is the second level of AP Calc. We have included the AP English Lit and Comp. So now we have an English AP offered this school year. Some course analysis. I reached out to some SEC schools just to have some baseline data, just of where are we at. Excuse me. And so taking a look through some of this information, we can see AP Calc, 50% pass rate with an average of 2.75. Again, the cut score typically is a 3. 3 and above is our pass rate. Looking at other SCC schools, 1 and 2, one school was 2.6, one school was 1. And so they just provided some of that information for us. Chemistry, we had a pass rate of 18% with an average score of 1.91. AP Stats, 12 participated with pass rate of 42%, with 2.08 as your average score. AP Physics, two students took the course throughout the school year. At the end of the school year, they decided not to take the exam. So that's where the not available is. And then SEC School 1 was not offering AP Physics. For AP Biology this year, we had a pass rate of 25%, average score of 2.13. AP US History, we had an exam participation of 4, 75% pass rate, average score of 2.5. AP Spanish, 3 out of 3, so 100% in that regard. And then AP Music, 4 exams, and the average score is 3.25. One of the pieces that I did notice from the other schools that is not highlighted here is just, I think we all saw this high enrollment in the beginning of the year. We saw this changing of, how our day is constructed, and we saw the enrollment drop throughout the course of the year. So thinking back to last year, we had about, I think it's the next slide, but we started out with 49 students. We ended up only giving 34 students having to take the exams. So we started out, again, with 49 students, but 34 at the end ended up taking some sort of AP exam. And this is kind of the breakdown per score. So you can see that 2 and 3 were a majority of our scores across the board. Some 3-year trends. Understanding that the middle one was our COVID spring, and so students took the AP exam online. It was not in a traditional format. This is the first year back to somewhat normal, instead of fees are not waived this year or anything like that. They went back to the tradition of 2018 and 19. So you see some sort of normalcy coming back in that regard.
So the first year here is 18, 19?
Yeah, 18, 19,
Or, I'm sorry.
yep, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21. And I think, I mean, this is kind of that breakdown again, as I mentioned. This is taken from Wisconsin's WASD. They'll upload that eventually, but just wanted to see some sort, can we find a trend based on what we've been given? In this school year, again, we had a 47% pass rate, so working our way back up. If we look at exam pass rates statewide, typically state and national are great baselines because it pretty much stays consistent throughout the past years. So this is kind of where we compare. Ultimately, taking a look at the data, what are we going to do next? Is just, one of the things that, we really are talking about is depth rather than just a checklist of topics. So instead of just saying, yep, we covered it, we're asking students to look at it more in depth by practicing the skills that are necessary. And so some of that transition right now in our AP courses is taking what AP College Board, so College Board creates resources, they create different resources for us to go off of. Every classroom is based on these certain skills to be successful. Because ultimately when we look at an AP exam, it really, the content is important that they're going through and practicing those skills, but they're given a brand new set of content every time. So what's important is the skills that they're applying from those courses on that exam. And I think that's what our teachers have really started out, and thank you to Sierra and helping those AP teachers looking through that information and deciding, all right, these are the skills necessary to be successful beyond just this course. So College Board, again, they've really amped it up since the pandemic, and you see daily videos, you'll see, and teachers are utilizing that a little bit more of just what resources are online for students to take advantage of. Classroom assessments and learning target, having that clear indication of what's being assessed. So, showing here is the objective, this is what's being assessed, and ultimately at the end of it, where did I do well at and where can I improve? Some instructional design with a clear purpose, going back to learning targets. Professional development, again, has been, that process has started over the summer of just being able to audit essential learning targets given from College Board and saying, yep, these are our essentials that we want our students to take away from. And then, it's been a great start to the school year with academic and career planning. So just having those consistent conversations about what's important beyond. And I think, kudos to the ACP team that's been really pushing this forward. But I keep going back to a lot of the conversations I've had with colleges and universities over the summer, and yep, we can quantify our data. We can look at those specific numbers. But when we look at a transcript and we look at, an overall picture of a student, all right, are they challenging themselves in their courses? Are they taking these rigorous courses that are ultimately, challenging their learning? And I think students are doing a nice job in that regard. A lot in a short amount of time, but moving forward this year, I think we'll be able to see a decent trend. So that's what I'm excited to see, is something that, that normalcy back at it. That's all I have.
I have a question tracking one more piece of data. So I believe still this is the case. To get the college credit, they have to take the next class in college that the AP test essentially replaced, and they have to get a C or B or better in that course, right, in order to earn the college credit that passing the AP test gets them?
It all depends on the university.
Okay.
So some you can get a 4 and you'll earn a certain amount of college credit. It really depends, and I kind of spent today going through that with students and the resource online. So really it's about having the student talk with a counselor and say, okay, if I'm going to UW Platteville and I get a 4 on the AP statistics exam, how is that going to impact me the day I walk into the building?
Sure.
And so that's really the conversations, and UW, it's UW Help, that students can go online and type in AP stats, this is the score I got, how is that gonna impact me?
It'd be interesting to know of the 20 passing grades that we got next year, how many of those actually converted to college credits?
I agree.
I mean, and I know, I assume it'd be a reach out to those students in a self-report. I mean, obviously we can't force that information, but I think it'd be interesting to track.
Out of my experience with it at different schools, Doug's correct, it's different for every school, but even like Madison, you get the credits, it transfers in as a Com A or a Com B or some sort of an elective, but it's credits that the parents aren't paying for.
Yeah, that's what I understand the value of it. I'm just, but like my calc in Madison, I had to get a C or better in the second calc
Yeah,
in order to even have the credits apply at all. I don't know if that's still the case or not, but
that I don't know, but I know, like, both of my kids went to Madison with 15 credits.
yeah,
Of, not necessarily, you know, a math class,
Sure.
but 15, a semester worth of credits.
yeah, of elective credits. That
And they,
were
and
free
they,
to
move, you know,
yeah.
we'll waive those Com As and Com Bs, which is a
Yeah.
semester,
Yeah.
$6,000.
No, I totally understand the value of it. That'd just be interesting to see
Yeah.
if everybody's actually converting these to credits or if we're losing something to crack somewhere as well.
You know, this is just from, you know, word of mouth, but I know there's some odds and ends with, you know, if you're going into, let's say you take the biology exam and you get a 4 in your major's biology, sometimes they make you retake it just because your major's.
Yeah, I
in it.
understand,
So
yeah.
it really depends on the individual student's
Sure.
path and the university.
All right.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Item G, administrative reports. Tom?
Just a couple things. One, just a reminder that we're going to meet on the 27th of September at the high school in the interactive lab to do the target-based grading presentation. So it'll be a work meeting. We may have one item that we have to place on there that we found out about today. But I think it's 5:15 on that day. So the admin team is creating their presentation. We want to present to you all the information, and then we're going to have it on the board agenda in October to vote on, your approval to vote on, so we can start moving forward. It's been 5 years in the making, 4.5, and so at that time we're ready to get it out to you guys and move forward. So just want to remind you guys that we haven't had work meetings in a while, so just that's 2 weeks from tonight. Secondly, I just would like to thank Carrie Kronshinsky, the principals and secretaries, for bending and not breaking during the first 8 days of school. I think we could have all, at least I could have anticipated that it was going to be like this coming off the fair, coming off Labor Day, just unstructured situations. But it's everything I thought it would be. Carrie's getting some extra assistance from the health department. She's getting a couple hours a day from another staff member at the health department. Again, the principals and the secretaries are again bending over backwards. My motto is to ride this baby out, ride this storm out, because I feel like it's going to get better. But I think it's going to take all of September to get there. And so if we can ride this out and make sure that we're not having severe cases, and we're not having major outbreaks, and we're not losing staff where we can't staff the buildings. Those are my 3 big thresholds that I'm looking at. I feel like we can continue to move forward. But we're going to have to, and we all know, we have to continue to give Carrie support because she's one person. She cannot do it all. So we're providing her with as much support as we can. So we're finding out that the first day after weekends, not good days. As today was not a good day. So hope we're over Tuesday, Wednesday are much better days. Much better days. But again, just thanks to all of them for being committed. You know, when you hear people say, well, we like not having the mask on, we like seeing the kids' faces, we like the morale, the mental health piece of it. I mean, that's what drives us every day, and it's like I'm trying to give Carrie pep talks every day. Just saying, hey, listen, stick with it, we can stick with it, we can do this. Yeah, so that's our intent right now. If it were ever to get dangerous, you know I'm gonna come. Simple as that. Here's my mindset. We're not going to hybrid or virtual learning. So, I mean, I said that to the staff. So if it ever gets a little bit iffy, I'm gonna ask for an emergency meeting. If we have to have some kind of mask situation, we will, but I don't wanna go to hybrid or virtual learning. So it's as simple as that for me. And I think you probably feel the same way, that you would not wanna change the instructional model if we had to make an accommodation with masks. So
I prefer not even to offer it, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody wants to do it, they can go.
yeah, I would agree.
One question, Tom, on your
Yes, sir.
report, as far as the special education through season 5, the technical assistance. What were the items, if you don't mind me asking, that we needed some attention on?
Yeah, sure. So it was year 2, Barry. So we got sort of like warned the first year and then the second year. So there's all these indicators from the federal government. The ones that we struggled in were what is achievement with special ed compared to other special education students on the test. And so that's one area we're addressing. The other is, it's called educational environment. You have to make sure that the students are in a regular education environment a percentage of time, and if they fall below that number, it looks like they're being pulled out more, they'll hit you on that. So Jim Ledoux, our special ed director, has worked with the teachers in getting those IEPs corrected. And so I think, we were actually just talking about this today, we believe 2 years from now, we won't be in this situation anymore, but in the meantime, we have to show we're trying.
Right.
The other was special education students graduating and dropping out. And so like last year, all of our special education students graduated.
Right.
So that gives us 100% for last year. Now, we won't recoup that until next year because it becomes a 2-year rolling average. So, but those were the main areas. Now, there were some areas we did really good at, like assessment. 100% of our special ed students take all the standardized assessments. And we had a couple areas that we were right at the top on. But those were the main areas that we have to sort of create a plan for.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
Tom, just to clarify, you said obviously September could be rough for us, just jumping back to the COVID thing. If we have, hypothetical, we have 15 kids calling this morning at Parkside, and they're exhibiting COVID symptoms, and then Thursday, kid's feeling fine, I didn't get my kid tested, I want to send them to school.
No. They have to be tested. If they indicated they had symptoms,
What if they don't indicate? What if they just, junior's not feeling well today? And then Wednesday he shows back up? I mean,
we push pretty hard.
Okay.
And I will say this, our parents have been great.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part. The only, not a situation, but one thing we offer this year to keep kids in school is, if somebody's a close contact, at school, we ask them to mask up and then test on day 7, so they can stay in school. We've had very few families say, oh, I'm not masking my kid, they're just gonna stay home, and then test on day 7 to get back on day 8. So we work with them on it. I mean, we're trying to keep their kid in school. I mean, that's our ultimate goal. But I would say 9 times out of 10, or even more than 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, my kid's masking up to stay in school. Like, they don't even hesitate. So it's been very rare. But they know there's an end game, right? They know they're not gonna be masked up for the next 8 months. It's this
And if the child is vaccinated, that's.
Yeah, right now, with vaccinated students, we're not making them, we may, if they were in close contact, so someone asked earlier, we may recommend, hey, would you be willing to test in a few days, just to make sure. Again, we're not really pushing that.
Sure.
We really haven't had to deal with it much, but yeah. We did have one just side funny story, but a student was a close contact in the high school, and Mrs. Johnson asked him to mask up. He's like, yeah, no problem. He came back a day later, and he's like, Mrs. Johnson, I'm vaccinated. So I know he had sort of forgotten he was vaccinated. Yeah, he was like, Mrs. Johnson's like, well, maybe I should have asked, I guess. But yeah, so he didn't have to wear his mask the next day, but it was pretty funny. He wore his mask like a champ for it. No, I mean, our parents have been very good. In fact, today I would say, they're calling in without us even asking, saying, hey, my kid has a sore throat, a headache, and this. And then nurse carrier will say, okay, well, you need to contact your provider, or the secretary to contact your provider so you can get a test. We've gone that route because nurse carrier cannot test all the people who call in sick. She just can't do it, it's impossible. So she tests close contacts, but we ask them to do that. Most people are good about it. If somebody says, I can't find a provider, then Carrie will say, hey, I'm testing these close contacts on this date, you can come in. Maybe 3 days from now, but you can come in and we'll test you. So she's willing to work with the families. But I would say overall our families are really good about trying to follow the rules to make sure we're staying up.
And I'm assuming you're still in contact with the health department and you're getting the trends and all that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think I probably don't. I should say. Yeah. Anyways, I do it on my own. So there's a really nice chart on transmission in color, and they do it on a 7-day average by school district in the state of Wisconsin. So that's a pretty good chart to have. Tells you where you're at, moderate, substantial, or high. They finally went to the CDC chart. Wisconsin had their own thing for a while, and it was way different than the CDC. So finally they got on the same page. But yeah.
What a difference a year makes, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think, you got these these spikes going all over the state. You got full Camp Randall,
Yeah,
Lambeau Field's gonna be full.
yeah, Brewers,
I
yeah,
know, it's-
Marquette volleyball games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thanks for your support, again, we'll just keep plugging away, again. That's what we'll do.
well, I think COVID finally trained parents to call in when their kids are sick, because I think the schools have endured too long of parents sending their kids when they're sick. So COVID, I think, woke everybody up is, if they're sick, stay home.
Yeah.
We don't wanna keep spreading it, no matter if it's COVID or influenza A or B, whatever it might be.
And we've said the same to staff, you know,
Stay home.
if you're feeling the symptoms, you know, we have the chart, if you're feeling the symptoms, don't come to work. Like, you know, we can test quickly on that, and so.
I think people just understand the protocol so much better.
Yeah.
You know, they understand it, that there's not that gray area where they're wondering what to do.
Yeah.
And they've seen it enough, so.
So, thank you.
All right, administrators, since we're in Parkside, let's start with Deb.
I have
Anything to add?
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Okay, Jim?
Just piggybacking on Tom's comments, I'm surprised and pleased with the student compliance with masking, when we ask them to mask. I'm always fearful of becoming the mask police. I'm not. They're complying, they're wearing it without really any problem, any hesitation at all. So it's going well.
Good, good. Jewel?
Just so that you're aware, we are doing an emergency drill week this week in our building. So if you're hearing out there like, oh, they have another drill today, and so today was tornado drill, tomorrow's fire drill, and we're practicing all the drills throughout the week to give students the exposure for in the event that.
So when we come on Wednesday, what are we gonna do?
We're on a modified Alice
Oh.
drill on Wednesday.
Oh.
So you are the intruders.
That's the excitement you wanted. There you go. Okay, we'll be ready. Caitlin?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Jen?
Nothing for my report, but I'm going to just, you guys know Anna for student council. She's our senior rep this year, and Kylie Klein is our junior
Welcome.
rep this year for
Welcome,
student council.
welcome. All right. Doug, anything else to add?
Excited for my first homecoming next week, so see what that's all about.
All
It
right.
doesn't go to Parkside.
Yeah. Right. Adam?
Doug's still in front of him, yeah, we did have 2 successful tournaments this weekend. Again, Booster Club stepped up in the concessions, had some parents help out, some staff at the tournaments. Obviously, to run a 12-team volleyball team and an 8-team soccer tournament takes a lot of people to run, so we had some people step up. I'm going to want people to show up. So again, thank you to everyone that helped do that. Moving forward to homecoming, I think they're getting the parade ready. Everybody should have a home event. I'm sure student council will talk about that. So we're moving forward to yet another COVID athletic season.
And Adam did an awesome job on Saturday. He was 2 people cloned going between soccer and volleyball, so he did a phenomenal job, so.
Again, I can't express enough how many compliments we get for our facilities. I know that it costs a lot of money to irrigate and paint and scrub the bathrooms and all that stuff that people don't see. Dan stepped up and was there all day at the tournament. So again, there's a lot of things that go into it, but we get a ton of compliments on our facilities. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah. Sarah? Nothing to add. Okay. Eric?
Nothing bad.
Do you want us to cut any wires or anything, or want to practice again?
What was that?
You want us to cut some wires or anything?
No. I enjoyed my overnight stay, so.
How was it?
It was nice.
Yeah?
And I got to wear my pajamas to work, so that was cool.
Cool.
So I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
All right.
No more wires, please.
Yeah, we always rotate those things for the first day of school, so we don't do that one again for like another 5 years. So.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's
All
great.
right.
That's great. Thank
All
you.
right. Board members, anything to add?
I enjoyed being the cashier again for one of the tournaments.
Yes, Karen volunteered for the volleyball and cashier of the money. Just for the booster side, as I'm also on that committee, we'll be doing a tailgate for homecoming. And so whoever high school is in charge of, is it the freshmen, the link crew or something? Are they gonna invite the kids to come, so I'll make the tickets and all that stuff, whatever? Okay, all right. So we'll have that from 5 to 6 o'clock out of one of the booths for the entrance to the high school. So all are welcome, everything is $1, so it's always a good time. And then student council.
Okay.
Hi. Our officers this year, President is Abby Peterman, Vice President is Madeline Woyak, Secretary is Team Rice, Treasurer is Danielle Allendorf, and then your school board reps, myself as your senior rep, and then Kylie Klein is our new junior rep.
Our accomplishments so far, student council members attended their first meeting of the year, September 8th. Our primary focus on that day was planning the homecoming pep rally, which will be held September 24th. Details for the week will be shared district-wide the week of September 13th. And our future projects will be, our first blood drive is scheduled for October 6th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
And then regarding homecoming, the pep rally planning is underway for this year's pep rally, including team recognition, court recognition, and some fun competitions. For the parade, float sign-up is open through this Wednesday. The parade route will begin at the intersection of Division Street and Water Street. It will proceed down to Water Street, River Street, 16th Avenue, and conclude at Parkside School. And then Sandali Motors has generously offered to supply the trucks for our court members. Our dress-up days for this year's dress-up days are intended to promote district-wide participation. Our theme this year is Hornets Got Game. On Monday, we'll do a Uno Day, which is class colors. Tuesday, Guess Who, dress up as someone else, dress up as teachers, dress up as student friends. Wednesday is Operation, so you can dress as a doctor, somebody who is hurt, anything. Thursday is Scrabble, so you can form words with your friends. And Friday is obviously Spirit Day. The dance will be held Saturday, September 25th, 7 to 11 p.m., and Grand March will be at 9 p.m.
Awesome, thank you. Item H, consent agenda. Item 1, minutes, A, August 9th, 2021, monthly meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Staffing, I'll entertain a motion to take item 2A, 1 through 3, and B, 1 through 6.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Brian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B7, information only of the cooks for Granite, Parkside, anything that we need to just transfer the positions, correct?
Yeah, you don't have to vote on
Yep.
those, they're informational.
Okay. Item I, action items, business and finance. Item 1A, approve the August 2021 Treasurer's Report.
I make a motion to approve it as printed.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, approve vouchers and payroll.
Make a motion to approve the vouchers and payroll as printed.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Brian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2, policy A, approve the revised interscholastic athletics and extracurricular code policy, second consideration.
So go ahead, Jen, I'm sorry, I'll let you speak.
Oh, I think last month I went over that, the changes, there should be, nothing changed, nothing else. You'll see again changing for next year when we do target based grading. That's true.
Move to approve the second consideration.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Ross. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2B, approve the revised open campus policy, the second consideration.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Jeanette. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2C, approve the 2021-22 WASD employee handbook revisions.
So this was handed out at the last board meeting, and just looking if anybody has questions before voting on the revisions. Again, the employee handbook is much larger than this. These are just the revisions in the employee handbook.
So move to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Barry, second by Karen. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2D, approve the new and revised policies, first consideration. So you're bringing those back with you from our last meeting? Or emailed us these.
Yeah, so you had them for a little bit.
Yep.
So again, you have two packets. One packet is in relationship to Title IX protected class. And so an individual's sex is a protective class based on gender status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And so part of this policy, this first packet of policy, is that the policies had to be revised because that group is now a protected class. So that's why this larger piece, that I think it addresses probably about 8 policies. But that's the first piece. And again, that came from federal legislation of Title IX about a year ago. The second packet are again more general policies that have either been deleted, revised, some are new. And so usually again it's based off changes in the law, or that the lawyers look over the policies and determine that one policy now encompasses all the language that's needed, so they don't need the other policy to be there anymore. So that's your 2 packets of policies. There's overviews on both of them, I believe. So I didn't know if you had any questions up front. Obviously this is just first consideration. If you have questions, we can address them. Or you saw any errors or anything of that sort. And I know as I would explain this, but I sit with Steve LaValliere from Neola. We go through these policies. Oftentimes there's options for the policies. As I explained to Nicole this morning, I always take a conservative approach on the policies that best benefits the school district and doesn't put us in a place where we're having to do make a lot of decisions. We can really make it succinct. Or if I'm not certain, I'll ask Steve, what is the trend for these policies? So that's always the approach I take. And oftentimes when I take a conservative approach, he'll tell me that's pretty much what every approach every other district takes, because you don't want to push yourself out there type thing. So
I'd move to approve the first consideration.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Barry. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3, negotiations personnel. Item A, approve the Riverview support staff hours for programming purposes.
So last month I spoke about our library programming and how I was keeping Brian Roberts-Bright in the second grade classroom, and then Mandy Stafford, our library aide, was taking on more responsibilities in the library in terms of direct library instruction. So with that, I'm asking to increase Mandy Stafford's hours from being a 7.5 employee to an 8-hour employee, to allow for that collaboration and opportunity to work with Brian to provide quality library instruction.
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Adam, second by Karen. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3B, approve the amendment to the Watoma High School counseling contract.
Yeah, that's additional days for our new counselor, just to help with scheduling and end of the year follow-up for like kids that have credit deficient, things like that. So it's beginning of the year, end of year, extended days for our counselors. For our new one.
Move to approve.
Second it.
Motion by Ross, second by Jeanette. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3C, information only, co-head high school wrestling coaches.
I can speak on that if Adam can join in, just because it involves him, but they had a discussion as head wrestling coaches that they're really taking taking on the job of the head coach often. So they've agreed that they're just going to do co-head coaching, and they'd split the 2 salaries of the JV coach and the head coach, combine them and just split it equally in half, because they're both taking on the head coach responsibilities depending on what it is. So with your approval, they'll just be called co-head coaches, and they'll deal with we have a document that'll balance out the roles and responsibilities for each.
It's like a 51-49 deal though, Lauren? Who gets the ultimate decision if you
Who gets
guys?
it?
On paper, I get a $5 raise and he gets a $5 pay cut.
So we're not entertaining any motion on this. It's information only, because there's no salary change on this. Okay. All right, item J, board governance. Discussion only. The WASB regional meeting interest, that is October 21st, right?
yeah, Tractors Turn in Wisconsin Dells. So just wanted to start peeking to see if anybody was interested in going. We went 2 years ago, and we can go to the pre-regional meeting, which begins at 4 o'clock, or we can just go to the regional meeting, which begins at 6 o'clock. I don't know, I mean, some of us have gone, I know Barry and Ross, and I think some of us have gone to the pre-regional before. I don't know if you feel like it's worth the time to go that extra 2 hours, I'm not sure. But definitely open to it.
When is it?
October 21st.
What day of the week
Thursday.
is that, please, Tom? What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Thursday. Take a school vehicle, we'll have to wear masks, just so you know. If people want to drive on their own, they can, but if I'll take a van if anybody wants to ride with me.
Do you know the speaker yet on the pre-meeting? That's there?
Might be Governor Evers.
Yeah, this is, I have not heard.
I would be interested in going, and if it looks like an interesting topic, going for the pre-meeting.
I will be interested in going.
Me as well.
All right. So we leave it like probably 2:45. Make sure we get down there in time.
That trackers, I'll probably leave about 10 a.m.
We'll see you down
Through
there.
Bridgeville.
Anybody else interested at this point? Otherwise, tell Tom
Yep.
or Katie, but right now I heard Adam and Ross, and myself,
I'll do that.
Jeanette.
And what was the,
Karen?
what was the parting time you were saying, Tom?
2:45. We'll just, if anybody wants to ride with me in the school van, we'll just leave by the bus barn.
Put mine as a question mark, because I think I gotta have a test that day, and I have to check my calendar and see what time it
But Jeanette, you said yes?
Yep.
And then Barry and Brian, you're gonna think about it, or?
Yeah, I'll just see
Okay.
my ability to schedule, so.
Okay.
Is anybody else getting a pin, Nicole?
You are, Ross
You are.
Peterson, yes.
Ross Peterson. Did you want me to say that a couple times?
No, I just wonder if anybody else was.
It must got lost in the mail.
Another picture.
The other pins are in the mail.
Pins.
A lot of pins.
Probably a typer.
All right, enough about you. Item, let's see here, 2, discussion only, the state convention interest.
January 19th to the 21st.
Yes.
I'm gonna say as of now we really don't know what's going to occur, but you know, I think if it's decent at all, we'll probably have it, since like you were stating, they're having everything else, but except Oktoberfest, but we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, as Nicole stated, the virtual wasn't very good last year, I didn't think. The offerings weren't very good, so if they go all virtual, I don't know, I'm not gonna spend money on that, but if they have it available, I guess I'd be interested in going.
She's got to know about rooms.
Yeah.
Now, the book.
Yeah, I mean, we can cancel, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
so I guess
I'm a
that,
no.
No, okay.
I'm a no.
Anybody else?
yes for me, if anybody else is.
What are the dates again on them, sorry?
19th to the 21st.
We would stay the 19th and 20th.
Yes.
Yeah, we came back.
On Friday, right? Came back on Friday?
Actually, we were gonna come back Thursday night, we
Thursday night.
decided, so it would just be one night.
One night.
Yeah, just the 19th.
Yep, I'm out.
I would be interested.
I'd be in for that if it's normal.
Yeah, we came back Thursday night. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go as well if it's going back, if there's no virtual element.
Jeanette and Brian, you're
One
gonna
on the policy.
check or Jeanette?
Well, actually, Barry's policy.
Oh, your policy.
Adam's more
separate.
Okay.
So we got Adam, Barry, Ross.
So we can discuss that.
I'll look. Yeah,
Okay.
just write it down.
Right. No, Brian. Tom, sure. Was that you, Brian?
I'll let you know.
Oh, let me know, thank you.
What's that? Oh, it's great, yeah.
You don't know, Jeanette?
She's
You
checking.
can really make the wave if you want.
Check.
Oh, no
I've
worries.
been
Put me down,
Brian's
but I'm
checking.
not.
It's fun. You'll have
I
to
gotta
play.
look for some people.
Yeah, so we get a, no, we get a start.
Okay.
When does it open, Katie? Yeah, because if you get, I mean, if we want to get right on it, like within 30 seconds. Yes, of the opening.
Katie, get on there tonight. Item 3, discussion only, legislative update.
Talked to Mrs. Joan Bolwick today. They really haven't been in session. Obviously, the mask mandate's a big issue. Everybody's waiting for some kind of verification on what may come, but Mr. Evers has kind of backed off a little bit. Election time, he doesn't want to step on too many toes from what I'm hearing. So that's kind of up in the air, leaving it basically up to districts and local control on that. There is a CRT bill being pushed through, I believe, some of the legislature. They want more curriculum transparency, but they're getting some feedback due to the implementation of the bill and dollar signs to go with it, so that's one of the items that they're looking at. They are not going to be in session until the end of this month at the earliest, so As far as anything new, there's a lot of things on the burner, but as far as any real legitimate items, that's pretty much it.
All right, Tom, anything from you?
Yeah, I just shared a couple of vaccines items from the President Biden's order, and just we're sort of public schools sit with OSHA, and as of now, we're not held to OSHA standards, or they can't govern public entities, so we'll see where it goes from there. Even what they can govern, again, I would imagine there'll be lawsuits. I think there already are lawsuits against it, so I'm not, some teachers or some staff members were already worried about it, and so I put an email out just saying, be patient, relax right now, and I gave the article to read it, so.
Item 4, information only, reminder of September 15th, this Wednesday, for our district, board district facility tour with some excitement at Riverview, if we get there at the right time. So, Tom.
7:30, yeah, 7:30 if you want some breakfast at door 8 by the band room. Tammy will have some food available. Then we'll go at 8 o'clock, we'll go around the high school, outside and inside, and we'll go over by the bus barn, crossroads, all that. Then we'll go to Parkside, Riverview, right there, and then Dave's gonna have the Hornet bus, so you can ride the Hornet bus.
So we're gonna be in the bus, so bring your mask again if we're inside the bus and so forth.
What time are we gonna be for 8 o'clock?
Well, 7:30 is breakfast, and we're leaving at 8.
7:30
7:30 snacks.
coffee. Coffee.
And was everybody able to attend? Everybody still able to attend?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We'll have clipboards for everybody in a sheet for each school, and you can write down long-term things that you see that you're like, oh, I'd be interested, or I wonder about this, and then any short-term things that you think maybe need to be corrected, and take that, compile it all together, rather than just, if you guys are all just saying stuff, it's hard to sort of manage that, so that way you write it down, we put it all together, and then it gives us something to go for.
Okay.
So 7:30 at the high school.
Door
8. You come in door 1.
Door 8.
Just have to walk on.
Just keep driving around.
No lightning
Well,
no lightning on Wednesday, Karen, you're safe.
I know. That's terrible.
Nice blood pressure. Before we go to item K, I just want to say that with our district, Tom and the administrative staff and the other staff are all to be applauded for everything you've done for through the ups and downs of mask, no mask, and everything. With what you're seeing across the state, I'm proud to say Watoma has not gone through any of the issues going on or walkouts and so forth. And to me, that tone is set by Tom first, and our board who listens to Tom and we're collaborative, but then he sets that tone then for everybody else. And I'm just proud to say that we're not in the papers for that, or we're having walkouts or anything like that. So I just want to applaud all of you for everything you've done, especially for you, Tom, for everything you've done with this.
Thank you.
It's been about the kids with you guys, and that's what you should be applauded for, because ultimately that's what it's about, the kids.
Yep.
Good job.
All right, item K, board suggested future agenda items. So we have our work meeting on September 27th on a Monday for target-based grading, 5:15 at the Watoma High School Library. We have our monthly meeting on October 11th at 6:15 at Riverview Elementary. We haven't been to these places in a while. And then on October 25th, we will have our budget hearing, 6:30, and then the annual meeting at 7 o'clock, and those are gonna be held at the Watoma High School Library. So make sure you get those dates on your calendar. Anything else for board?
Either the 25th.
Yes, you
I'll
are
be
excused. You'll be excused. Anything else for board suggested future agenda items? All right. Item L, adjourn to close executive session under state statute 19.85, item 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and adjourn.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Nicole Lear.
Yes.
Prosecutor.
Yes.
Jeanette Cole, yes. Jerry Knox. Karen, yes.
Yes.
Adam Teddy. Brian.
Yes.
We'll go to the conference room.
Oh, okay.
That's office?
Yeah, that would be office.